Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amin Najib bin Sani. My contact number is 195921. Today we present my final year project, which is my title is the effect of signal processing techniques in damage detection and structural health monitoring. So here I go to my poster. So before that, I will briefly introduce about the abstract. So basically, this project is about constructing signal processing techniques, which is used here is time series model, Fourier transform, and also wavelet transform in damage detection that were used in structural health monitoring. So basically these three signal processing techniques will be compared to identify the best technique in damage detection. It is done first. It is done by collecting the data from the experiment with different condition, and the data then to be transformed into signal processing technique. So which is I mentioned earlier, which is time series, Fourier transform, and wavelet transform. So in this signal processing technique, we use MATLAB application. So as the data was collected in the time series, then this data is convert or transformed to the frequency, which is called Fourier transform. And also finally, for the wavelet transform, I use the continuous wavelet transform to plot the data by using the scaleogram method, as this method is a better way for showing the data signal, which is utilizing to identify the high acceleration of vibration in the damage detection. So we jump to proceed to the introduction. So basically, as I mentioned earlier in the abstract, I use these three signal processing technique, which is time series model, Fourier transform, and wavelet transform. Actually, the time series model we can see in our daily life, which is in I take example for in the stock chart, and also foreign exchange market. Usually they use a time series model. Okay, as the price as the price as the price moving with the time lah. So the Fourier transform actually is a kind of frequency. It's actually used to detect noise, and also to detect damage. And the third one is wavelet transform. So here wavelet transform, I use the scaleogram method, which is the effective way uh, to detect the high acceleration of vibration in the experiment. So move to the objective. Here the objective is to produce and measure the vibration signal in different operating condition. Second, to apply the time series model for the transform and wavelet transform on the data to identify the change of vibration characteristic due to different condition of operating motor. And the third one is to compare and identify the signal processing technique as stated in the objective 2. So here is a methodology. So first one, we start the experiment. Second one, identify the electric motor for this experiment. So the third one is mounting the accelerometer. Actually, the accelerometer is mounting at the electric motor to detect the vibration. Actually, we use the acceleration. We use a 3 axis, which is X, Y, and Z axis. So it is to acquire the vibration data, and the data is the data is built in the data that has acquired will build into the time series model, fast Fourier transform, and also wavelet transform for comparison. And so that's all. Sorry, that's all for the methodology. To proceed to the result and discussion. Okay, for the time series, exactly the data produced in the experiment is the time series. So from the time series here, we can see that it has three different color, which is blue, red, and green. So exactly this is so I use the three different color to identify which is the most significant axis or most significant amplitude to get this result into the Fourier transform and Wavelet transform. So um, so I used to get the blue color one, which is S-axis as the significant amplitude. Then the X-axis will carry out to the move forward to wavelet and Fourier transform. So here is the result of the Fourier transform and wavelet transform. So actually, as we can see here, um, as we can see here, the comparison between frequency and wavelet. So at the frequency, we can see it has detect high frequency at certain area. So in this part, I only take 300 to 600 hertz as this part has the uniformly frequency and also easy to see. So this 300 and 600 I use basically, as we can see here, here's the comparison between the frequency and wavelet. So basically for the wavelet, as in the right side, I use the scaleogram method, which is the yellow color indicates the high magnitude. So the yellow color indicate high magnitude in the scaleogram. So which means it has high acceleration of vibration. So if the increase the intensity of the color, which is yellow, so the high magnitude um so the high acceleration of vibration in the experiment. So here we can see closer the yellow one indicate the high acceleration of vibration compared to other color, which is this level of magnitude. So for the conclusion, actually the best signal opportunity will be choose, and for my research continuous wavelet transform was chosen, which is this scaleogram method. Okay, because it uses scaleogram and this is more accurate and more clearly to detect high acceleration of vibration. So as we can see in the result earlier, so this method is very practical and very effective to detect the high vibration in the experiment. Okay. Okay. So that's all. Thank you.